referee with a whistle. Yeah, we back like we never left before. Back again with another episode. I'm telling you, man, it's a tropical rainforest out here where I live. It's been raining all day long. Is it going to stop? I don't know. It's a tropical rainstorm where I live at. But hey, we don't worry about things that we can't control. We worry about the things that we can control. So, yeah, hit that like button. We're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects today. We're going to talk about the church. We're going to talk about the church. I grew up in the church. Yeah, buddy, we're going to talk about the church today. I grew up in the church. The church. That's how my grandfather used to say it. You going to the church? We're going to talk about the church today, boy. My favorite subject to talk about, the church. I never talked about it here. Not that I can remember. I never talked about Christian women. I never talked about it. It's my first time talking about it on here. It's one of my favorite subjects to talk about. Religious people from all sets. You know? So, like and share the video, even if you're looking at the playback. But all Christian women are not created equally. You know? I think the biggest, I'm not going to say it's a problem. I said the biggest deal. I'll say the biggest deal is when it comes to being a Christian, this depends on where she's from, where she grew up at. That's going to be, that's going to tell you a lot right there. In the church that she goes to, or the church that she grew up in, that's going to tell you a lot right there. So you got location, country, and the church she went to, or the church she's going to. She might still go to the same church she grew up in. That's going to tell you a lot. Now, within America, everybody's not doing the same thing when it comes to being a Christian. Everybody's not doing the same thing. Everybody ain't got the same God. Everybody ain't got the same Jesus. I think we can agree to that. If you go to some churches around the country, if you walk into the church, I'm gonna say I've only been to Baptist and Methodist church. I haven't been to Pentecostal, and I haven't been to all them other type churches. But I wouldn't know what I'm about to say. But you walk into most Baptist church, the Jesus that's hanging up in the church, This is based on my experience. I've been to a lot of Baptist churches across the country. The Jesus that's hanging up in the church don't look like the people. It don't look like the pastor. In most cases, you know, the Jesus don't look like the pastor at the Baptist churches. Now, I went to a Methodist church growing up. I grew up in a Methodist church. In most Methodist church, I would say it's probably 50-50. 50-50 split. That the painting in the church looks like the preacher. Very close. In most cases. It's like 50-50 split in the Methodist church. Now, like I said, I don't know nothing but the rest of them churches. I only been to Baptist and Methodist church. I don't know nothing but the Pentecostal and some independent. I don't know nothing but them other churches. I can't speak on that. Now, when people are in that church, let's say you're in the church that the Jesus don't look like the preacher. Now, when those women are in that church and the pastor is preaching, in most cases, most of them women are kind of, I'm not going to say brainwashed, but the image that they have in their mind of who Jesus is the person that's on that on the wall. That's usually how it go. You know, I don't think most people can go into a church, look around, see Jesus Christ everywhere. That's what the title says on the painting. I don't think most people can go in a church, look around, say Jesus Christ, and somehow, in their mind, say, hey, that ain't Jesus Christ, but I'm standing here anyway. I don't think most people can separate the two. Well, that's a lie. I don't think. If they stand in that church, there's a certain agreement they have that I'm comfortable enough to stay in this church. They might not agree with everything they see in the church, but they agree enough that they can stand there and have no problems. You know? Now, and the reason why I say this, the reason why that's important, this is the reason why you don't see white people at black churches. Because if a white person walks into a black church and looks around and don't see nobody that look like him, he's getting the fuck up out of there. He or she. That's the truth. That's why I say that's important. See, the image of what Jesus is in the minds of everybody that's in that church every Sunday, or whether it's Bible study, whatever service it is. That's very important. That's very important. And see, this is when I learned at an early age. I think I probably was a teenager around this time, that everybody ain't doing the same thing when it comes to being a Christian. They definitely ain't following the Bible. No. People take what they want out the Bible and live by it. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how most people do. And people take things the wrong way of the Bible as well. Or they'll take it to some extreme. And I'm like, no, it didn't really say it like that. You know, it ain't really that. You take it too far. There's a lot of that too. They take what they want, and the things that they do decide to live by, it's always something that's extreme. You know, it's like taken out of context too far. There's a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of that. So, I would say most churches, I would say it's pretty standard. It's women in church. It's pretty standard. It's more women than guys. Yeah, I think it's always been like. I think it's always been that way too. I don't really think it's breaking news that it's more women than guys in these churches. You know, but that's not even important. You know, what's important is that if you decide to get to know a woman that claims she's a Christian, she goes to church all the time, she worships her God, you need to find out who her God is. How does her God look? Because this is going to affect, if you decide to get serious with her one day, or you decide to get to know her, take her out, and spend a lot of time around her, this is going to affect y'all relationship. Because if her God doesn't look like you, and she put her God on the pedestal, and it don't look like you, y'all gonna have some problems. Y'all gonna have some problems. Guaranteed. Because the religion is so powerful. It's been powerful. It ain't just started. You know. Yeah, see that's gonna affect. And everybody kind of does a version of this. It don't necessarily have to be religion. It's kind of like if you had a good as a man, if you had a good relationship with your mom growing up, even into adulthood, right? That's going to has a lot to do with how you have relationships with other women outside of your mom. So religion does the same thing, positive or negative. You know, it does, whether you realize it or not. Even whether you probably don't even want to think about it, but it does play a factor. You know, even if she's a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, whatever religion she is, you got to find out who is her God, who is her Jesus. How does he look? Is it a he or a she? It's very important. You know, I mean, if you go to a woman's house and she got pictures of Jesus all hanging all over the place, and the Jesus don't look like me, I'd be like, oh, okay. You know, it's okay. Now, I'm not going to argue with her or ask her why you got these pictures up here that don't look like me or don't look like you. I'm not going to argue. No. I already pretty much know where her head. Or she has gear, clothes, t-shirts, pants. And she's a Jesus freak. And she got pictures of what's that picture of the of Jesus and the 12 disciples. You know what I'm talking about. The pictures of Jesus and the 12 disciples sitting down at the damn table, the long table. She might have got that shirt on. And she probably got the pants on and all that shit. But none of those guys in that picture look like her or me. See, that could be a problem. You know. Now, I would ask questions. I would ask her, okay, what your upbringing like? Were you raised in the church? Were your parents Christians or whatever? Because sometimes some people didn't grow up in church. They might have went to church every once in a while, but their parents wasn't in the church like that. My parents was in the church like that. Every Sunday. Every Sunday. But if you don't know, if you don't ask, you're not going to know. You got to ask these questions. Just because, never assume just because she went to church or she goes to church that she's a good woman. You know what I'm saying? No. There's some heathens in that church. There's some devils in that damn church. Oh yeah, you got some devils in that church. Devilish people. I mean, some of these people in the church are some of the biggest hypocrites that I've ever seen. Some of them are worse than the people that's on the street. At least the people on the street, you know what you're going to get. But the people in the church, you don't know. You might get caught off guard. You know? So never assume just because she's dressed nice, hair done, feet done, hands done nice, makeup on, she going to church, you see her every Sunday. Never assume that, hey, she must be a good woman. I see her every Sunday I come to church. Never assume that. Maybe she might be in transition. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some people that came from the streets and they're trying to live a better life. So they'll use religion as a kind of a way to transition out the street world into the legit world. You know, they're really looking for some type of guidance, really. So they'll use the church as, in the Bible, and the pastor is kind of a guide, a kind of a guidebook, conduit. There you go. Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to say. Some people would do that. And that's okay. Whatever works for them. I mean, I ain't the religious police. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you what a lot of things that a lot of people in the church, it's not what it seems. A lot of times you got to look deep before you leap. And don't take what people say with a grain of salt when you meet them in that church until you get to know them. You know, a lot of people put on a good face. You know, they just come to fellowship, and when people worship their God, Jesus, whatever that means to them, you know, whatever that looks like to them, and that's okay. I ain't got a problem with all that. They come to fellowship. I ain't got a problem with all. I ain't got a problem with that. You know, I think we can both agree that a lot of pastors are scumbags, right? All pastors are not created equally. I think we can agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't what this discussion is about. The pastor it ain't really about the pastor. The discussion is really about the women. That's what we're talking about. Now I'm gonna say probably most of the women that show up every Sunday in the church, they're going there. Their number one reason for going there is because they like the pastor. That's just reality. Their number one reason for going there, I'm gonna say at least over half of the women that show up every Sunday at that church, anywhere in the world, really, and not just America, anywhere in the world, their number one reason for showing up every Sunday is because they like the pastor in some type of way. Could be they think he's handsome, he's charismatic, he's charming, he's fine, they think he's sexy, whatever. It doesn't matter what. It could be anything, but those are the reasons why they show up. So, and a lot of women have this dream. I'm not gonna say it can't happen. It happens. They not only do they show up for the pastor, they show up to fellowship, and in their mind, this does happen now. In their mind, hopefully they'll meet a guy in the church, or that's affiliated with the church in some type of way. It happens, but doesn't happen for most women though. It happens. They'll meet a guy at the church. He show up every Sunday just like she does, or they'll get an invite. Somebody introduce them to some guy, because like I said, a lot of these women are transitioned from the streets. Maybe she used to go out all the time. Maybe she was on dope. I don't know. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she's on dope. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she used to smoke crack back in the day. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But most of these women they have issues, or they trying to maintain. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not judging, but I'm just telling you how it usually goes down. You know what I'm saying? Some of them used to smoke crack. Some of them probably still smoking crack. But they still show up every Sunday. Some of them probably like to sniff. They probably still sniffing. But they still show up every Sunday. They're trying to make a transition, just like I said. You know what I'm saying? But the point of me telling you this is you have to be aware of this. You know what I'm saying? You have to be aware of the type of women that's in the church. I'm not knocking them, but you gotta start somewhere. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta start somewhere. So a lot of times you might say, well, how come they won't go to the dry out center or go to the drug rehab? Well, going to the drug rehab center is kind of embarrassing for a lot of people, especially if you live in a small town. It's embarrassing for everybody in a small town to know that you went to a drug rehab center. That's kind of an embarrassing thing. That's why a lot of people won't go there. They'd rather go to the church. They'll try that first. And if that don't work, then they go to drug rehab center. I'm telling you what I know. It's not my opinion. That's kind of an embarrassing thing. They'll go to church first. That don't work, then they go to rehab. They'll be like, I ain't got no choice. Now I can't kick the habit. You know what I'm saying? That's what usually happens. Now the pastor, he already know what it is. He already know what it is. He know the type of people that's out in the audience. There's different groups of women out in the audience. Guys, men and women. There's different groups of people. Some people got some demons that they're fighting. I would say it's probably a good 40% of them people in audience fighting some type of demon. And then you got the people that's probably just left the goddamn nightclub 4 hours ago. They up in there smelling like liquor and beer and weed. You know what I'm saying? They trying to, it's trying to stay on track. Shit. And then you got the other people that they Christian, like for real, stone cold Christian. They show up every Sunday. They got they might be ushers in the church. That might be on the staff of the church. They might be doing something with the church in some type of way. They might sing. They might be on the board in some type of way. They might be they might sing. They might sing in the church. So that's another group too. And now most of them women are married. They're gonna be married. The one that's associated with church, they're gonna be married. You're gonna have a small group of them that's gonna be single. You might have some widows. The parents, the spouse, the person they was married with died, so they'll be available. You know what I'm saying? And then you have some women, they ain't never been married, so they'll be available too. Now, to get with them women, you're gonna have to be in the church in some type of way. It just ain't gonna happen, bro. These women are not going to accept you. The women that are in the church, on the board, on the staff, ushers, she might be a pastor. If they're single, available, and you try to get with them, you're gonna have to be in the church in some type of way. They're not having it. They're not. You ain't gonna be one of them guys that you work your job 5 days a week, and come the weekend, you going to the club, and no, they're not having it, bruh. No, they're not having it. No, cause she ain't out in them streets no more. I mean, she probably was never out there in the first place, but she not gonna be at no bike show. She ain't going on nightclub with you. No. Yeah, she'll go to the beach with you. She'll go to the beach with you. Y'all take the kids, to the beach or something like that. If she got them or you got them, y'all might have a cookout, something like that. Anything that has to do with alcohol, you can forget about it, bro. It ain't happening. It ain't happening, bro. You can forget about it. No, she not gonna be around no alcohol. Nobody drinking, smoking, drug use. No. See, that goes against everything she stands for. You know what I'm saying? No. So that ain't gonna work. Now, there's some women that have tried to be with guys that's kind of out in them streets. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he trying to make a transition too. But no. And see, if her church members find out that she's dating a guy that's out in them streets, that make her look bad. Yeah, no. So that's why most church members are not going to even entertain a guy that's out in the streets, partying, drinking, smoking. No. And see, in the small towns, everybody know everybody. So if they find out she would old Ben over there, they'll be like, he talked to Ben? That boy ain't no good. Hell, she'll be embarrassed. That makes her look bad. And you might say, well, hell, why does she care about what them damn church people say anyway? Well, come on, man. She, they, they're in the church together. I mean, come on, man. They, they do business together. They're in the church together. They travel together. So that's not really a practical thing to say, So that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. You need a girl that's transitioning along with you. Yeah, that's the girl you need. You know what I'm saying? And that girl that's transitioning, 9 times out of 10, she's still out in them streets. She probably drink, smoke, party, get high. They be up in there. You know, that happens. You know, some of these women have a lot of bodies too. They do. Now, if you're the type of guy that if that bothers you, you probably need to stay out of church. Because there's a lot of women in there that got a bunch of bodies on them. Because you got to think about it like this. If there's a presence of alcohol and drugs, it's going to be a lot of bodies. It's going to be a lot of banging going on. I'll tell you that much. That's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So if that bothers you as a guy, you need to not go to the church at all looking for Christian women. No. That's where them women in that church, boy, have more bodies than the girls, the regular girls, that's outside the church. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. They have more bodies than a girl at your job that ain't never been to church before. You're like, God damn, is that bad? Yeah, it's that bad. You know? Shit scared me, boy, when I found this shit out. Damn. You know, all kind of wild shit be happening in a lot of these churches, man. You know what I'm saying? Shit. But hey, great. Oh, peace. You know. But that's usually how it go, man. It's church churches have changed over the years. What it used to be, what it is today, it was different back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But there's still some churches out here left that's they trying to help people. You know what I'm saying? What's that, Lily? Hey, what's up? There's still some churches out here that's trying to help people. You know, and there's a lot of bad ones, but there's some good ones left too. You know what I'm saying? But the good ones don't have the they don't attract a lot of followers. Like the big mega churches, they have all the money. But they're the main ones, they don't do shit. They don't really do shit. No. Most of them pastors, they don't do shit. They don't help people. All they do is collect money and go home. That's all they do at the mega churches today. That's probably only one pastor I know that's he's a good dude. And what's his name? Damn it. I actually met him and he's out in New York. God, what's his name, man? I think I bought all his damn books. I bought all of them. Because that's how much I respect him as a man. He's an older guy now. He's like 60 something. He's the guy that Rev Run, Run from Run DMC. He's the guy that this is just my opinion. This is what I think. He's the guy that helped Run transition from them streets to the church. Yeah. Yeah. I think Ron needed some protection at the time. And he brought him in at the time. This is like, I don't know, probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I'd say 25 years ago. This happened, you know. Yeah, but he's one of those. He has a mega church. I think it's in New Jersey and New York. I think it's in New Jersey. He got a mega church in New Jersey. Yeah, I think it's New Jersey. It could be New York though. I'm not sure. You know. But yeah, he helps a lot of people. He helps a lot of people. Now, and see the problem with he gets targeted too. That's another thing. He gets stopped by the cops. And see the problem is if you help a lot of people like that, you're gonna become a target at some point. It is what it is. You know. But you know, there's some people, and there's different types of women in the church. They're going through something. They're trying to make a transition. They're trying to do better. At least they're trying to do better. You know what I'm saying? There's some people just don't give a damn. There's some people happy with where they are. But at least when you meet somebody in the church, you sit down and talk to them, you ask them, hey, where you from? Where you came from? What you trying to do? Why'd you come here? You know what I'm saying? I give you a lot of that's how you get to know them. You know, some people will talk to you if they feel comfortable with you. You know, just depends on the person, really. You know, but most of the time, people usually dealing with something. Most of the time, you know, ain't no the best women in the church, they're usually taken. They're married. They've been married for a long time. You might get lucky and meet a widow. You know, you might get lucky, but for the most part, the best women are taken. They married. They've been married for a long time. You know, you might meet a single woman. Mostly you have to get introduced. That's usually how it go. The church is not really a. I got to plug my phone in. There we go. Okay. So yeah, the church is not really a place where you can approach women like you're on the streets. It's not really like that. No, it's not really like that. You can introduce yourself to anybody, but usually if you want to like take somebody out or get to know them, somebody usually has to know you before that person you want to date will be open to the possibilities. That's usually how it goes. Especially if you're in a small town. If you're in a big city, well, shoot, they don't give a damn. Shit. In a big city, most of the time they don't give a damn. But if you're in a small town, usually you have to get introduced. Somebody has to know you, and then that person will make up their mind. They'll see you. They'll be, hey, you know that fellow over there that was beside me the other day? You know, he want to have a word with you. You know, even they say yes or no, and word will get back to you, and they'll be like, say yes or no. That's basically it. You know, sometimes they'll pass your phone number to the person, or next time you see him or her, you put your bid in. But usually somebody has to know you. Someone has to know who you are, like who your family is, something like that. You know, If you're like a damn stranger, just walk into the damn church and start approaching women, no, that's not gonna work. No, because people gonna be like, who the hell is this motherfucker? Who the hell is this dude? Who he with? Where he come from? Shit, he might be a maniac. You might be scared, like, who the hell is this maniac? Where he come from? You know. So churches, they don't, things don't happen fast in the church like that. No. No. If it's gonna happen fast, it ain't gonna be with you. It's gonna be with the pastor. Shit, that's usually how that go. It ain't gonna happen fast with you. It's gonna happen with the pastor. He there every Sunday, and he's the reason why they showing up. Most of the women showing up, because most of the women in there want a guy like him, or they want him. Either or. They want a guy like him, or they want to be with him. Either or. That's why they're showing up. If they can't be with him, even if it's for 2 hours, if they can't be with him, they want a guy that's like him. That's usually how it go. That's why these women donate money. And when the plate comes around, you've seen it. You've probably done it. I've done it too. When the plate comes around, put your little $2, $5, $10, however the amount you want in the plate. When they come around, shit. That's usually how it goes. Yeah. But you know what? There's some good things I like about the church. One thing I like about the church is there's a camaraderie that's in the church that I like. There's together, everyone's together. That's one thing I like about the church. That's one thing you can say, oh, you can talk about the pastor all day long. Who gives a fuck? Who fuck the pastor? But I'm talking about the people that show up in that church. I miss that togetherness, because when I'm out where I'm at now, where I live now, I don't have that where I live at now. I don't have that. Yeah, I got friends here and there, but it ain't like. I mean, I only got a handful of people like that here where I live. In that church is hundreds of people like that. Hundreds of people like that in the church. And see, think about it like this. If you have hundreds of people in a church like that, that's a self-maintaining economy within itself. Think about it like that. That's an economy within itself. You have hundreds of people, in one building. Most of them are there for same or similar reason, and most of y'all know each other directly or indirectly, each other's families, etc. So there's no strangers in there. There's no strangers in these churches every Sunday. There's no stranger in there. Everybody know damn near everybody, directly or indirectly. I might not know you, but I know your mama, or your daddy, or your grandmama. You know what I'm saying? There's no strangers in there. So that's what I'm talking about. I don't have that here where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that. That camaraderie, you can't pay to have that. You can't pay for that. Either you got it or you don't. It's going to be natural. You can't pay to have that. No one can give you that. That's a big difference. That's what I miss. That's what I miss about being in church. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I go home, Sometimes I go to the church that I grew up in. I grew up in that church, that back home. And check this out. That church has been there for 400 years. Think about that. The church that I grew up in, the church that my parents grew up in, the church that my grandparents grew up in, it's been there for 400 years. Think about that. Damn. My grandmother buried there in the graveyard. My great grandparents is buried in the graveyard. My parents is buried in the graveyard. Damn. Woo, man. My dad buried in the graveyard. Damn. On the other side, they buried in the graveyard. My dad, sisters, brothers buried in the graveyard. Damn, man. 400 years, brother. Woo, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot of memories in that church, man. They've been there for a long time, man. Yeah. So having a Christian woman, Christian values, it's not so bad. I look at it like this. At least that Christian woman has some type of standards, some type of belief. There's women walking around out here that don't have no belief, no standards. They're just winging it. So I don't shit on the Christian woman. I might not necessarily like how she living. We might not agree on everything, but at least she has some type of belief. At least she has some type of standards. These women on the internet doing videos have no damn standards. No damn beliefs. They just lying and trifling. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's just how I see it. You know? That's how I see it. But hey, check out my best-selling book, Love at First Click, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. Bestseller, 500 pages a game. I just finished, I got invited to be on somebody's podcast today and yesterday. You know, I think when a lot of people invite me on their podcast, they think it's going to be some old normal average show. No. I'm far from being average. When I go on their podcast, I light that shit up. Spitting hot fire. Shit. Because I talk about things that most people don't talk about. Or they're afraid to talk about it or just don't know. I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is, you know. But hey, you may disagree. You might say, hey, I don't want to talk to no damn girls in the church, no damn Christian. Hell with them hoes. You know? You might say, I don't want to deal with no Christian girls, man. They hypocrites. They're the devils. Them along with the pastor. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't talk about the pastor at all. They don't matter to me. I talk about the people that show up every Sunday, people that's sitting out there along with you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people that show up along with you in the audience at the church, the men and women. I talk about the women in this video because we like women over here. But yeah, I know plenty of Christian women, plenty of them. We don't have they're not perfect though. They're not perfect. You know, A lot of them still going through stuff, transitioning, and I believe at the end of the day, a lot of these women, they're doing the best they can with the circumstances. But like I said, a lot of them have demons. A lot of them, they're going through something that have demons. They're trying to transition onto the other side. And I don't got a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I might not want to stick around for you transitioning to the other side. If you got a drug problem, I can't be around you. You know, and I'll point you in the right direction. Yeah, I'll help y'all point you in the right direction for sure. But I can't be around you. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Some people, some men, are willing to stick it out with women until they transition and come out on the other side. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm saying I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's all. You know. Now, am I gonna wait until she transitions and come out on the other side? No, I'm not gonna wait around. I'm gonna wish her well. You know, that's what I'm gonna do. And if I see her and she comes out on the other side and she's looking good, smelling good, nice skin, hair done, maybe she had lost some weight, maybe she done you know, she's healthy, I'm gonna give her a hug. I might even give her a kiss. Yeah. You know, cause I got a good heart. You know what I'm saying? I wish everybody do well. I don't wish bad on nobody. You know what I'm saying? But there's certain elements I just don't want to be around. Certain people I just don't want to be around because of their lifestyle. And that's my prerogative. There's nothing wrong with me being that way. You know? But that don't mean that I'm going to abandon them or never talk to them ever again. No. If I see them right now, I'll be like, hey, how you doing? You look good. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, I ask them, how you doing? You look good. What you up to these days? And if I can help them with anything, I'll do it. I'll do it just because I want to do it. Yeah, I don't want nothing. You know, I don't have to do something for somebody to want something in the back end. No, especially where I'm from. No, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just do it out of. Sometimes I do things out of just being kind. That's all. You know. Yeah. But when I go home, I go to church. I go back to the church where I grew up at. It's, like I said, it's been there 400 years. Been there, and all my parents and grandparents on both sides are buried there in the graveyard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for real, for real. So this is how I have proof. See, I have proof where I'm from. I go to the grave. I take you to the graveyard. I say, hey, this is all my family right here. All in the same line. My parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. All in the same graveyard. Right here. Georgetown, South Carolina. That's where they at. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I don't need no birth certificate. Yeah, I got that too. What I'm saying, I got proof. You know? Hey, how many people you know can do that? Can say that? They can. I got proof that I lived long enough to meet my grandparents and great grandparents. How many people you can say that? How many people you know that can say that? Not many. No, they can't take you to where their grandparents or great grandparents got buried at. They can't. You know what I'm saying? No. Shit. But hey, you know, it's even here or there. Like I said, don't forget to check out my best-selling book, Love at First Click, and Love Can't Wait. Hey, both of these are bestsellers. Who would ever think? Both of these are bestsellers. Who would ever think, bro? Come on, bro. We representing out here. Hey, I do this for us. You know what I'm saying? I do this for us. It ain't just about me. You know what I'm saying? I do this for us. So hey, like, share this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this. Like this. Until next time, holla!